Party in the city with the heat is on. Bienvenido, Ami. It's time to get jiggy with NASCAR playoffs. We are hitting the Homestead-Miami Speedway for the next round of the postseason. We've got all your favorite bets and your DFS picks coming up on the back road, so stick with us. We'll be right back.
It's a non-points race, but it is a short race. Checker flag. That's all this race is.
From the States.
All right, and welcome down the back road, IBT Media's NASCAR betting and DFS program. I am your host, Seth Woolcock. Today, I am joined by the host of the #1 NASCAR betting show on the entire internet and an American hero, Rod Villagomez. Rod, how are we doing today, man?
I'm looking around for who you're talking about. I don't necessarily know if I see him back there, but no, I'm doing great, Seth. I'm doing great. I'm excited. Yet another week. We're getting so close to the end, though. I almost feel I almost feel a little sad. And then I remember that there's going to be a nice little break for next month or so.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I think I'm good.
I get into like early September, football comes back, and I'm like, man, like I'm not looking forward to the end of the season. And then we get close to the end of the season. I'm like, don't take it away from me. I need more. Especially last week. We had a great week at Las Vegas. We'll react to that here on the program. We're also going to break down Homestead, as Rod alluded to in the intro. We'll give you our best bets, our DFS rankings, and oh man, Miami-Homestead, Rod. What comes to mind when you first think of this track? Because it's one of the all-time greatest in the NASCAR land.
Yeah, I feel like it should still be the last one. It should still be the one that decides it all, right? That's kind of where we're at. But
Yeah.
Look, I very much enjoy the racing here. I know we're back-to-back mile and a halves, and we haven't done that in a very long time. So we get to actually see kind of the same style play out. But again, with the playoffs, everything's ratcheted up.
Yep.
Like Cody, my buddy Cody on the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, he's saying we're going to be ripping walls. We're going to be slipping and sliding around. There's going to be a lot of strategy. And yeah, this is going to be an exciting race. And yeah, when I think of Miami, I just think of excitement.
And some juicy odds. So we had to get creative a little bit this week. And I'm sure our IBT audience members did as well. And thank you to everyone who tunes in with us each and every week. It's you all who make this show run. I've seen people in here for hours already commenting in the chat. Marcus was the first one asking who everyone's picking for Homestead. He, of course, is going with none other than C-Bell. Predictable, Marcus, but good bet. I might even have a little bet on Chris Bell this weekend as well. Stan saying, I predict Tyler Reddick will win at Homestead, liking that number 45 car there. We got Brian Brown in the chat saying, what's up, peeps? Good to see you. Brian's also liking Bell here. And Alfred, a little Byron shot here, a little Blaney top four to start us out here. Plus 150 is his favorite bet. Good to see you, as always, Alfred Banks. Thanks for tuning in. And we got Charles ripping with us as well. Good evening, friends. Good evening to you, Chuck. We appreciate you, buddy. And we got Lana, who's hanging out with us, saying, let's go, Byron. I feel like these IBT family members are reading our mind tonight, Rod, because like these are already some of my favorite drivers of the week we're talking here.
I got to stay out of my dock. Like every single one of those folks are the exact same people that I've been on. And you know, what's great about it is that I always say that, you know, the NASCAR betting audiences are the most smartest audiences out there in the entire betting industry.
Yes.
Because there's so many that already know who to start talking about, where to get the conversation going. And it always pumps me up because it's like, I'm talking to a smart group of folks, and it just, yeah, sharps are among us.
If you guys are new to the channel by chance, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. Also subscribe. It's the easiest way to support what we're doing here. And speaking of that, we're working on some stuff right now. We want to get out a feedback survey to all of our NASCAR betting community members here before we go into the off season. We're going to work really hard on some new tools for the site to get those over to you, and also some different stuff just to be more engaged with this community, because we really appreciate everyone who makes us part of your weekly mix. And you know, I have my shows each week that I watch. I know Rod does as well. So for us to be part of yours means a lot too. So thank you to that. If you want to check out more of our NASCAR content, go over to inbetweenmedia.com. We got our new DFS tool you can try out. We also have a lot of articles hitting the wire, whether you're into NASCAR betting, NFL betting, PGA betting, college football betting, or just fantasy sports or entertainment in general. And let's go ahead though, Rod. I think we're ready to look back one more time, which was a really fun Las Vegas race, in my opinion. Let's turn it back here in the rear view. Looking back at what was a fun weekend in Las Vegas, it started out on Saturday when AJ Allmendinger pulled out the win here. Really, honestly, I don't want to say he dominated this race, but did lead over 100 laps in this one. Ryan Sieg comes also close again. Chandler Smith, he was my favorite bet for a top 5 on the weekend as well, and he was in the top 5 at the end of it. Parker Kligerman, nice run for him as well. Rod, what stuck out to you from that Xfinity race other than your guy AJ finally getting back into victory lane?
And see, this is why I always love AJ. And I say to him, he's like my spirit animal because the way that we both process emotions is so close. He can be so high and then he could just be so down on himself, like about the next 5 seconds later. He could be running the best race in the world and then just something will trip him up and that's it for him. So I'm like, I feel you, AJ. That's how I live my life every single day. It's a battle, but I love seeing him. I love seeing good AJ. I love seeing the AJ that's happy. I had him as a top 5 car in Las Vegas for sure that day. I wasn't quite ready to pull the trigger on an outright for him.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to run well, but boy, I tell you, that guy put together the race of his life this weekend. And now he's locked in. Now all he's got to do is just sit back and enjoy the next few weeks of racing before he gets to Phoenix.
It was one of those moments I was reminded again, like, scared money doesn't make money. And I came on to the show and I shouted him out as, hey, Elliot, should he be someone we're maybe looking at for the 16-1 outright? Elliot kind of talked me down off it. And hey, like when I have those gut calls, when I'm feeling something, especially when it's for someone like our guy Dinger, gotta pull the trigger. So that's what I continue to learn here. On the Cup side of things, though, Joey Logano gets it done in a really like fuel strategy type style that Joey Logano, Paul Wolf, and that 22 team have become oh so good at. Christopher Bell was really the man to beat for the entire day. Joey Logano doesn't pit. He has one less pit stop than everyone. We also saw Suarez on that strategy. Denny Hamlin got back into the top 10, saved his day on that strategy as well. So what did you think of this race, Rod, and how did it play out from a betting perspective for you?
Well, so I once had a Jeep in which the fuel gauge was not really fully working all the way.
Okay.
So I almost ran every single day like Joey Logano because I would get to the end of it and I wouldn't know how much I'd have left. So I'm literally just hoping that I can make it to the next gas station on that tank of fuel. So I get Joey. I know what he's up to. But no, I actually enjoyed the race. I know there was a lot of stuff that kind of went on that detracted.
I thought it was solid.
I did too. I liked
saw four-way racing at one point too.
Four wide. Like who does that anymore with these guys? But yeah, we saw 4 wide racing. We saw great strategy play out, and we saw some disappointment in some of the top drivers early. But I think that opened it up for a lot more variety up top too by the end of the day.
I think races that play out naturally like this and strategy and fuel saving come into play. It takes you back. It takes you back to what you kind of fell in love with the sport. So yeah, I loved it. Joey Logano, we said it last week, like all the trends were that I'll go through a list of trends here in about 10 minutes. And a lot of those trends all pointed to Joey Logano. And it was just like, he got a phone call to get into the round of 8. And then what are the chances? Like, so Joey Logano, congrats to him, man. Shout out William Byron. He cashed a top 10 ticket for us. We pounded that with a couple college football money lines as well. So I was happy to do that. Denny Hamlin, I did the same type of thing from him. So very thankful for them. Who was your knight in shining armor at Las Vegas, if anyone, Rod?
Honestly, it was Ross Chastain. I had him even money for a top 10. Like everybody else had him at minus money and BetUS had him as plus 100, just straight even money. But got to tell you, I knew that was the one guy that I was thumping my chest for more than AJ Allmendinger in the Xfinity series. Because I said, look, I know that the odds aren't that great. I know that, you're not going to stand to win a ton of money off of this. But
yeah,
man, even if you double up, that's still good on Ross Chastain top 10. And boy, he came through in a pinch.
Yeah, I was really high on Ross, and I was trying to find matchups that I liked him in, and he was really like fairly head to head against other drivers. And then kind of same thing. I felt like I caught, I think I was finding -120 for him for a top 10, and just wasn't good enough for me to get invested with him there. But I'm glad you did cash in on that, because he was a guy in those total speed rankings at these high speed intermediates who just jumped out. So absolutely. Congrats to Joey Logano. Congrats to everyone who hopefully made a little bit of money. I was up 5 units myself last week. So great week for us. Let's, before we turn the page though, and look at Homestead, I did want to talk about some recent news here, starting with William Sawalich. He will be driving the number 18 Joe Gibbs racing car here in 2025. William Sawalich is really the cream of the crop in the ARCA series right now. He's won 9 of 14 races so far this season, and also has won a boatload more of those ARCA East and West races. What's your immediate takeaway here with a very inexperienced driver? He's going to be making his Xfinity Series debut this weekend, jumping into some of the best equipment in that series.
Yeah, and he's had mild success in the truck series so far. It's kind of been off and on for Sawalich, and obviously he's going to be in this race this weekend too for the truck series. But I think, kids like him, Connor Zilic, these guys that are the up and coming, the next tier of NASCAR superstars. I think it's good to start to see them get in these cars. And amazingly though, Sawalich, the 18's kind of a jump. I mean, I know he's dominating ARCA, but
that's what I feel like too. No top 10s in his 7 truck series starts this year as well. So it hasn't come easy to him, but by any means. And if you watch this kid's ARCA races, you can tell he's great at finding speed. And I think some people can find it, so other people can't. He can definitely do that, but at the same time, he's a guy kind of like young Carson Hocevar was a few years ago, gonna ruffle some feathers, gonna drive people up the wall a little bit, and not afraid to get on some drivers' bad side. So I think he will have a little bit of a learning curve. And I think at the beginning of next year, Rod, when we really look at the JGR stable here with a couple inexperienced drivers, Brandon Jones now over there, they're no longer, I don't think, the cream of the crop. And I think it really is that junior motorsports gang that I'm going to be betting heavily, them and RCR really to begin next season.
I mean, first of all, welcome to the JRM train. There's plenty of room for you on there. I love JRM. I love all the drivers, and it's just a fantastic organization over there. But you're right. I mean, and JGR now, this will put into play, is it the equipment? Is it the driver? Where are we seeing the speed from? And we know that, that 20 car with Almirola in it is one thing. And then we know that the 18 with Creed has been a second place machine this season. So yeah. It will be interesting to see who steps up in this and makes this continue to be a dominant team in the Xfinity series.
Yeah, we touched on it last week. Taylor Gray going to be in that 54 car, owned by Ty Gibbs apparently as well. So definitely going to be interesting here. We don't know who's going to be in that 4th seat. It could be a Chandler Smith. He's still rumored to be out there as well. So just going to have to kind of wait and see. Could be also what they're doing. They throw Almirola. Maybe they throw Ryan Truex in some of those races. Hey, maybe Ryan Truex can find the funding as well. TK in the chat saying 88 alone will be crazy next year, let alone the others for JRM. Yeah, that's a crazy stable they got over there, man.
Yeah, TK knows how much I love my JRM too, so it's
yes,
yeah, definitely.
Yes. One more news item for us before we jump into Homestead here. Frankie Muniz to drive the Reaume Brothers Racing Truck Series team full time in 2025. This is what NASCAR is all about, Rod. Sure, he has some money, but this is a kid who came from no racing background or had family who even watched racing apparently, and he was in Malcolm in the Middle, in Agent Cody Banks. We knew him growing up. If you were a 90s, 2000 kid, but also he was injured when he first tried to get his racing career going in the early 2010s, tried making the PGA Tour at one point as well. So he's kind of been all over the place, but we can't forget he was leading the ARCA Series points halfway through the 2023 season in kind of a shitbox Rhett Jones car. Jesse Love was in that series as well, goes on to win that series, but he had plans to race full-time in Xfinity this year. They fell through last minute, had to go part-time, has had some really bad luck. It feels like he's always blowing engines or something like that, Rod. So this is just a win for racing, a win for America, and a win for Frankie Muniz.
This story to me, it's funny because as I follow it, there's a lot of celebrities that try to just buy their way straight into something
Yeah.
and say, do you know who I am? Like, I'm Malcolm in the Middle. I'm Agent Cody Banks. Like, I was with Hillary Duff in a movie. I should be able to drive whatever I want. No, he is doing this the right way. He's tried to earn his way each and every step. And the fact that he's persisted, right? With all that bad luck. I mean, I don't know. I don't know his financial situation. I don't know if Agent Cody Banks money can keep him flush in the cribs apartment that he has, but he probably doesn't need this. He probably doesn't need to do this. And when you get engine problems, when you crash out, when you have as much diversity as you have, it's easy to just sit back and say, I'm good. You know, I got money that I can use. Malcolm in the Middle still on reruns. I don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
But instead, he's like, no, I really want this. I'm going to continue to go out there regardless of what happens and try to get myself a ride. And good luck to him. I really enjoy watching him race, and I'm going to look forward to watching him complete races next season.
He did about a 30-minute interview on the Dirty Mo channel this week, and he talked about how he's not just doing it for himself. He's doing it for his son. He wants his son to remember him as not just a former actor, but someone who's chasing his dreams. And everything Frankie Muniz stands for, if you've ever heard the guy speak, he's one of the best interviews in the entire series. And no surprise, has had probably media training since he was 7 or 6 years old. But at the same time, also great with fans, always spending time signing everything. So congrats, Frankie Muniz. I am curious how this truck will do, Rod. Reaume Brothers Racing isn't the best equipment, 27th and 32nd in owners points so far this season. However, they have guys like Lawless Allen mixing it up, who, if you need a caution late in a race, you call Lawless Allen. They also have Keith McGee and Mazzo Maggio, who've been piloting those trucks. So it's hard to tell how good that equipment is, but it seems like they're going to get a lot more Ford manufacturer support with this move as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be fun. I mean, but you know what? Look at those guys, Lawless Allen. We talk about sometimes in the DFS episodes of our truck and Cup Series. I mean, he's one of those guys where he could pop up and have a top 20 finish for a day. I mean, granted, he's going to probably end up more often in the 30s and late 20s, but there's every once in a while he could just pop up for a decent 20th place finish. So you're right. It will be fun to watch him kind of climb his way through and see if he can't elevate that equipment.
I will say Lawless Allen, I love and hate him. He has taken a lot of money from me from late cautions, but he's also won me a lot of money because he's flipped the field with some of his funky cautions as well. So Lawless, I'm pulling at your back in next year. I remember Elliot was down at my house a couple weeks ago and we were watching a truck race, and without Lawless, we don't cash one of our biggest tickets of the season. So thank you, Lawless, Frankie. Thank you, Frankie, as well. Let's go ahead and turn the page here and look at what's going to be a great race down there in Homestead, Miami, in the Horizon forecast.
Hey, Michael, it was only 20% chance of rain. I think we got all 20.
All right, it's Homestead. It is a 1.5 mile track with high tire wear. The primary comp for it, I really feel like it is a unique track, but if you can give it a primary comp, it is Darlington. Then you can also look at secondary comps like Texas, Charlotte, Kansas, Las Vegas, which Las Vegas and Kansas are the big ones I looked at here, especially, Rod, because they were so recent. Maybe not as much tire wear at Las Vegas is what we're going to see here at Homestead, but still great to have these intermediates. It made handicapping a little bit easier this week, I felt.
Yeah, you're not going to see as many like strategy calls. It's going to be put 4 fresh Goodyears on, fill that thing up every single time a caution falls. And yeah, I mean, there's not going to be people that are going to be trying because, tires are key, especially on this track where you're like inches away from the wall, lap after lap after lap. So yeah, I mean, again, it made it a little easier, but then again, Seth, sometimes when it's too easy, it feels like a trap. So I'm kind of trying not to fall into that trap this time.
Well, and there's always guys at Homestead when you look at the results from the last few years. AJ Allmendinger, it just happens to have a thing here. Austin Dillon has 2 straight top 10s as well. So, there are people who are just good as shit at Homestead, and we see that in all 3 series as well. So, it's something to kind of keep in mind there. But I'm definitely going to be kind of leaning on these KG veterans who know how to save tire here. I don't have too many long shots on my card. Hopefully, maybe some people in the chat do, maybe you or Elliot do that we can hear from. But getting into the schedule for the weekend, 9:05 Eastern time. We got an early Cup practice on Saturday morning. Make sure you guys are tuned into that, qualifying right after that as well. 12 p.m. Eastern time, we got Truck Series race, the Baptist Health 200, and then at 4 p.m. it is going to be the Xfinity Series race, the Credit One NASCAR Amex credit card 300. I don't need another credit card, but if I was thinking about getting one, it might be the Credit One NASCAR Amex credit card. What do you think, Rod?
It's funny when I was reading it off earlier this week, I was like, the Credit One, register trademark, Amex, register trademark, NASCAR, amateur trademark. Yeah. But look you'd have to have good credit to get another credit card. So I'm pretty much done there. So sorry.
Dude, yeah, it's crazy. I don't even know what you would get with this card. But it's intriguing. At least they did a good job popping my interest with that name. On Sunday, it's 2:30.
I was gonna say you get 4 tires and a tank of gas.
Every 60th tire you get one free. Maybe that's what you go with your bonus points. Sunday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's the Cup race, the Straight Talk Wireless 400. The stages for this one: lap 80, lap 165, lap 267. Kind of what we're used to at intermediate tracks so far this season. Nothing too crazy there. I did want to look at a couple trends here that I did find interesting, specifically looking at some of the playoff trends. 4 of the 8 playoff drivers are Homestead winners. Denny Hamlin has 2 wins. Christopher Bell has a win. Kyle Larson has a win. Joey Logano has a win. Non-playoff drivers have only won this Miami race a handful of times. The last one came in 2022, and that was Kyle Larson, who he kind of got bounced out early of the playoffs that year as a kind of a total surprise. So I'm not putting really any of my bets into non-playoff guys. Do you have any on your card? Actually, I do have one, but like it's a guy who made the playoffs. Like it's not, a scrub.
I mean, not in the outright market. No, I definitely have all playoff drivers in the outright. But I mean, I've got a few guys to pop into the top 10, top 5 that are not playoff drivers. But yeah, for sure, the outright market is swamped with that.
Last year's champion Ryan Blaney was second here. He went on to win the championship. Kyle Larson, he leads all actives with wins in the 8th postseason race. He has won at Texas 3 times. Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell have also won this 8th playoff race once each as well. So Kyle Larson, I know a guy, everyone's talking about him. Everyone's circling him for their betting cards. I think he's a little overvalued. We can talk about that a little bit later. Looking at some specific race trends here for Homestead, 4 actives have won the pole at Miami. Hamlin has 3 poles. Truex has a pole. Byron has a pole. Logano has a pole. But Team Penske has only just won the pole just one time here at this track. So not the best off the bus here. Winning from the front row comes at 28% of the time, top 5, 60% of the time, top 10, 68% of the time. So really what it tells me is if you have a top 5 car here in practice and qualifying, there's a good chance that you're going to have a top 5 car when this thing ends.
Well, it's like I said, too, because we don't get a whole lot of strategy calls, right? If a caution falls, whether it's a stage break, whether it's a caution, they just come in and get gas and tires. So really the race sometimes is on pit road to try to get off faster. And if you're a top 5 car, obviously you've got your choice of pit stalls, which are really going to be pit stalls. And that plays into your whole day. So I can understand why the trends are the way they are.
Yeah. And, it's tough because like I did want to get invested pre-flop here, because I just felt like if there was going to be value on some people down the board a little bit, they were going to qualify well. I think they're all good qualifiers, the people I'm targeting here. So I think you do need to get invested pre-flop, but just be prepared. Like if you start outside the top 5 here and you're chasing heavy outrights, it might not look that good. So I just wasn't heavy in my unit allocation for outrights, but I think you can drink some juice in the placement prop market, which we will do here right now as we fire up the parking garage props. Rod, what were your thoughts of the sportsbooks this week, my friend?
They're on to us. They're they know there's 3 weeks left, and they're basically like, we can't lose any more money to these guys because they've been giving out some bets that have been cleaning house on them. And it's funny because if you listen up and down the spectrum at a lot of the shows that are out there, we've kind of got this as the season starts to wind down. It does get a little difficult because playoff drivers, just like Alfred says, swept top 4 spots last year. It almost gets a little bit, like you said, easier to handicap these races. And so the books are like, well, we can't give these guys too good of odds because they're going to swoop on them. So they have to kind of, cover their asses a little bit. But
Yeah.
I still think there's great value out there. There's a lot of good lines that we could take advantage of. But all in all, they know when we know what's going on right now.
Yeah, I feel like the NASCAR betting season's a little bit of a roller coaster. You can usually get some good value early on. The books and ourselves don't have a lot of data to go off of. Gets kind of chalkier as we get through those spring months, and then it gets really hard in the summer. To me, I think the summer is really hard. You get a lot of wild winners in the Cup Series, and then as we get further and further into the season, I mean, you're crossing like I'm not making shit box matchups this time of year. I don't have the bandwidth for it, Rod. Like, I don't care if John Hunter Nemechek beats Corey LaJoy. I know sometimes I have to, and I made that bet a couple weeks ago, and I was on the wrong side of it, but like. I don't know. I just feel like your pool gets smaller. The books know that as well. And I think there was no doubt about it that's kind of what we saw in the outright market this week here with Kyle Larson at the top of the board. I mean, talk about some juiced odds here. Plus 350 is about as best you can get him right now. Bet Rivers, Tyler Reddick, 6.5 to 1. I'm seeing there are some boosts out there for Christopher Bell to get him 7.5. William Byron's boosted at Caesars to 8.5. And then we get into the Denny's, the Blaney's, the Elliott's. What'd you think of the outright market?
So, and that's it too. With Kyle Larson, it's like, I get it. I totally understand why you would have him as short as you as plus 300, best driver in the world. He's won all these races. Like, he's continuing to win. But he's only got one win on this track in his career. Like, he finished 34th. That's what can happen to a guy that you bet at plus 300. He can finish 34th in a race and not cash his ticket for you. He finished 4th before that, 40th before that, 13th, 3rd, 2nd, 5th, which is good starts, but it's not a win, right? And then 13th and 15th. Of course, most of those were in the 42 car. But at the same time, it's like, it's not a given that Kyle Larson is going to go kick everyone's ass each and every week. Can he do it? Absolutely. Have we seen it? A lot. But plus 300 when there's other guys on the board. I mean, thank goodness that he's plus 300 because that makes other guys on the board a little better. But, I personally don't think this is a Kyle Larson week in which he can win. So I'm not going to pull the trigger on plus 300.
I agree, dude. And like Vegas was the place to bet him, right? Vegas was the place to bet him. If you wanted to bet him 3.5, 4 to 1, that was the place you were kind of betting him. But Homestead, the numbers aren't as good, and he's been inconsistent lately. Say what you want. Had some things go wrong in the pits last week, had some unluckiness, but at the same time, him and his team have not been as consistent as more teams down the board that we can talk about. So who are your favorite outrights here?
So it's funny. I'll go with his teammate. I just got done talking about how Kyle Larson is not the one to do it, but I'm going to take William Byron. William Byron.
Lockstep, my friend.
Yep, I know that was in the doc already. I had him at 750 on FanDuel. He's boosted, you said, to 850 on Caesars?
850 Caesars, yep.
That's even a better number for William Byron. I mean, again, if you look at the winners from this track, Seth, Christopher Bell last year, right? Kyle Larson the year before that, Byron the year before that, Hamlin, Busch, Logano, Truex, Johnson. Tell me where there's been a repeat winner. Like, it's so difficult to pin down an actual winner on this. But, Byron, fantastic at intermediates. 4th place at Vegas earlier, 2nd place at Kansas, tough at Darlington and Nashville, but those aren't necessarily a mile and a half, but 3rd at Charlotte, 6th at Darlington again, 23rd at Kansas, but 3rd at Texas to start the season, 10th at Las Vegas. He finished 4th at Homestead here last year. Like, it's William Byron's world. He's got, a million wins this season? Okay, not that many, but he started off the season with a ton of wins and slowed down. But now we're at the point where he can't afford to not win a race. Points are irrelevant to me at this point. I know everyone's like, well, but he could make it in on points and they start sliding their abacus. The easiest way to do it, Seth, is just to win. And William Byron can do that. He's done it here before, and I think he can do it here again.
Yeah, I'm with you there 100%. I also think I did it last week. I went with his top 10 number. I think it was like minus 300 last week, and I parlayed that with a couple money lines. I'm doing that again this week. Like, grab yourself a couple of your favorite long shots, whether that we got F1 this week. We got F1.
We do, as Mexico City Grand Prix.
Okay, so grab yourself some juicy fucking F1 lines or some juicy college football money lines, CFL, whatever. Take some juice here. Parlay that with William Byron's top 10. I got it down. I just parlayed it with the Penn State money line that was I think minus 250, and I got this down to 104, minus 104 for a top 10 for William Byron. Like my dad growing up, he said, don't fix what isn't broke, man. And like, I don't think William Byron is broken by any means. Number 4 in the Homestead Next Gen Total Speed Rankings, number 3 in the Total Speed Rankings last year, second fastest late in the run. And you kind of alluded to, like, he's been the best Hendrick car over the last month and a half, 2 months. Like Bowman was right up there with him. But 4 straight top 5s coming in for William Byron. I keep betting him top 10s, and he keeps cashing top 5s because I'm being a little bit conservative. So I think you could even get away with a top 5 here if you really wanted to as well. Finishes a 4th, 12th, 1st, 9th in the past 4 years here at Homestead. Average finish 6.5. He scored stage points every chances he has here as well. 8 for 8 in that metric as well. So yeah, I'm all in on William Byron here. I pushed a unit in on the outright. I did 3 units on that parlay for the top 10 as well.
Hey, if the ATM keeps giving you money, you go back to that ATM.
Yes, absolutely. Anyone else you liked here from an outright perspective?
So I don't know. Byron was my only actual bullet that I threw out there, but
okay.
I do like Reddick in a revenge situation. I really do. I think that Tyler Reddick got the raw end of the deal at Las Vegas last week. Obviously, he didn't even get to show us what he was capable of doing that entire time. You look at his finishes here at Homestead. He's got 4 career starts, 3 top 10s, all 3 top 5s rather. All 3 of those top 10s have been top 5s. 3rd place in 2023, 2nd in 2021, and then a 4th place in 20. He's led laps in 2 of them. Granted, 1 was last year, and it was only 3 before that, but he's been in front, right? He's been a top car, and we know that Tyler Reddick, regular season champion, Tyler Reddick, needs, not just wants, but needs a good day. And I think Tyler Reddick is somebody else that's good to look at. He's 7-1 over on BetUS also, so a pretty decent number for him there for talking William Byron type of a ballpark.
Yeah, it's tough for me with Reddick. I feel like he just hasn't had the speed lately. I don't know why. I feel like he's just been, I mean, and maybe he has had the speed and he's just had 1 or 2 things kind of go not his way. Like last week, it looked like he again had a really fast car to start out the day, and just things didn't go his way, and kind of had to fight his way back into things. So I actually would prefer Chris Bell at that plus 7.5, plus 750 boost at Caesars. I went a half unit on that, Rod. He won this race last year and didn't really have a great car when I watched back that race. Like, I don't think he was the fastest car by any means, but like Christopher Bell has been rigged up better than anyone else over this past month. Like, it has been crazy, especially on these high tire wear intermediate tracks. He was the fastest car last week by a long stretch. And we almost saw him kind of do this at Iowa earlier this season. He didn't win Iowa. He was pissed off. He came back. What did he do? He won New Hampshire not that too long afterwards. So I think we see maybe something similar to Christopher Bell. And looking at the total speed rankings from iFantasyRace.com, Christopher Bell actually, over the last 3 races, the fastest car at Charlotte, the 6th fastest at Kansas, and the 1st fastest at Las Vegas. So I think he's going to be rigged up here. I don't know what they're doing to that number 20 car, but it's been damn fast here lately. And I don't always trust Christopher Bell a lot, but this is more like a FOMO bet, half a unit down on that plus 750 outright.
I think the only thing that scares me about that is, like I said, I read off the winners of the past races. We haven't had a repeat winner on this track in so very long.
Yeah.
It makes it hard to get down on it. But if anybody can do it, Seth, it's got to be Bill, right?
Yes, absolutely. And before we keep it going here, I do have an outright, and I totally skipped over it in the last segment here, but it's our iFantasyRace.com asterisk Mark Driver of the week. Actually, is my other outright here. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. It's Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr., he was a top 5 contender last year at Homestead, but he finished with a misleading 29th. In that race, Truex won the pole, led 10 laps, finished 5th in stage 1, 6th in stage 2, was running 7th on lap 202. And then if you remember, Kyle Larson, he crashed coming to pit road into the water barriers. All the water goes everywhere. Truex got screwed over in pit strategy, never really got his mojo back. And then later he was battling, coming back into things, and he ended up having his engine blow. So I think Truex is someone, you look at what he's done this season, and it's not been great, honestly, but he's still number 2 in the high-speed intermediate total speed rankings. He's finished top 10 at 50% of our comp tracks this season, including the last 2. He was good at Las Vegas last week. I was trying to find a way to get him on my card, and I couldn't. And he was also good at Kansas a couple weeks ago as well. Those were like his first top 10s in like a year, right? But minus 125 for a top 10 for Martin Truex Jr. over at Bet 365, excuse me. I thought that was an absolute hammer. I went 2 units on that, a sprinkle on the 20-1 outright. I went about 0.3 of a unit on that one as well. Second in the Homestead Next Gen Total Speed Rankings, was top 10 in 5 of the 6 Homestead races before last year. And the only one he wasn't top 10, he was 12th in. So I like Marty a lot here.
The only thing, the only thing that gives me pause as I make great radio here by the silence is that Martin Truex Jr. You know, when you get to the end of a race and you know that there's only a few meters left, right? It's either there's one type of person that pushes all the way to the end of that race, right, and they kick it up a notch. They may have been sandbagging it for a mile and a half, but they see the finish line and they're just gunning their way for it, or there's the people that have been sandbagging it for a mile and a half and know there's only a few meters left. And they're like, I'll get there when I get there. And I know I'll have a cold Corona waiting for me at the other end of it. And they just kind of mosey their way in there. I don't know which one Martin Truex Jr. is. Like the couple of finishes that made me think that he's a guy that's going to try to push it a little more to the edge. But I mean, you look at the whole season, it's like that Corona is looking kind of nice and cold. Maybe I'm just going to mosey over to it.
I haven't bet Truex since he announced his retirement. This is my one spot. I'm hammering down here just because, like you're totally right, and I think that's a great analogy. And funny enough, my first ever I ended up coming back. I was bringing up the rear there, and I was like last 100, I sneezed, and the guy in front of me heard me coming, and I just booked it, and I beat him down the stretch, and yeah, I was happy just not to get last there my first 2 mile. But I think Martin Truex, like I agree. I didn't come into this week thinking I was going to bet him, and he could absolutely let me down just based on not wanting to do it anymore. But I think he wants to go out with a win. I think this is his best chance to do it. So yeah, give me a little Marty here. Party.
You and Cody have a lot in common with your Truex love. So
I've been the one on this program bashing Elliott for literally months to not bet Truex at all. Every time Elliott brings him up, I just scold at it. And here I am. One last thing about this, Rod. This might be the last time you ever get to bet Martin Truex Jr.
Indeed. Until Daytona next year.
I ain't betting him he sucks on super speedos. I'm betting him at Daytona. I don't care what Denny Hamlin rigs up for him. I'm good on that. TK saying Truex should be good, just a matter if he avoids trouble or if he finds a way to get bit again. Yeah, that's it. You're kind of like his biggest opponent is himself in this. So we got Kush checking in as well. What's up, Kush? Good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in tonight, buddy. All right. Anything else from an outright or placement prop perspective?
So from the placement part perspective, I actually Caesars always gives you these both to finish in categories, and there's Reddick and there's Bell to finish inside of the top 5. I actually like this one a lot. This one's a plus 240. You talked about how you thought this was a Christopher Bell week. I think that this is at least a Tyler Reddick top 5 week for sure. I mean, I kind of think he's going to be a decent long shot for a win, but I think both of these guys can be inside of the top 5 at plus 240. I mean, if Bell gets there, the only thing you have to do is hope that Tyler Reddick can shake that. But I already gave you the stats, right? He's 3 for 4 on finishing inside of the top 5 on this track. So, I mean, if a guy hits you in the head 3 out of 4 times with a baseball bat, are you ducking the 5th time he's swinging? I'm going to do that. So I'll take Tyler Reddick as a top 5 car. The numbers by themselves are not that great for top 5 for either one of them. So you take this opportunity to have Caesars give you them both for 240, and I love it.
Okay, I like that a lot. Yeah, Martin Truex top 10. That's my only other placement prop. That and the William Byron top 10 parlayed down a little bit. So that's all I have from a placement prop perspective. Anything else we haven't touched on in that market before we jump into matchups?
So Chastain top 5 is probably the other thing that kind of gets me. We saw how good he was last week, right? And we know that Chastain's just one of those guys that loves to play the spoiler in and around everything, right? He's not in the playoffs now, so he's just going to spoil everybody's day. He did have a second place finish here in 2022, which means that the speed is there for him in that one car. He started 8th in 2023, ended up finishing 31st after a crash. But again, we know Chastain's talented. I do believe that he is going to be a fast car. His name also is among the better ones of the drivers inside of the iFantasy race heat charts and heat rankings. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt this week and give him a top 5. He's 3-1 for a top 5. So I love that number.
Yeah, I don't hate that number at all. Ross has been good, top 10s on back-to-back mile and a half, high speed, high tire wear intermediate track. So I like that play. Stan, shout out Austin Dillon here. He has been really good. He absolutely has been really good. I just don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know about RCR. After all the rumors that someone stole some information and coming out of the Olympic break, I don't know. I'm just saying I don't get the best vibes from Austin Dillon right now. I think he might have cheated his way into a victory there at Richmond. Oh, he definitely did because he pushed Joey Logano out of the way. But yeah, Stan, you're 100% right though, and 6-1 is not a bad number on a guy who's done it 2 times in a row. But I don't know. I get the heebie-jeebies.
So top 10s are interesting anyways, because if he's 6-1 for a top 10, we're not asking for top 5. Top 10s sometimes can be a little bit more feasible and you can argue a little more for a top 10, because if you're running top 12, 13 over the course of the day, you can kind of find your way in the top 10. It's a little harder to do that if you're not running well in the top 5. So you can get a lot more surprise top 10s than you can top 5. So I don't hate this. Cody is on it too, and I'm still kind of, but like, whatever.
It's a popular play. So I'm surprised it's still at 6-1. I saw some people last night on the NASCAR betting preview show right here on the IBT channel as well that were also on the Austin Dillon top 10. And Tino was even sprinkling on the Austin Dillon outright. So it's a popular play, Stan. I don't hate it by any means. I just can't get there. But if you're looking for a long shot in the placement prop market, I don't think that's a bad one at all. Let's move to matchups here, where my favorite play in the Cup Series is Denny Hamlin -125 at DraftKings over Chase Elliott. Listen, man, Chase Elliott has not looked good lately, and like kind of some bad luck last week that he was running top 10. But Denny Hamlin has beat Chase Elliott on 3 straight ovals. He has beat Chase Elliott 4 straight times at Homestead, not counting last year. I'm throwing out last year. Denny Hamlin was a top 5 car, had that steering issue. Smacked the wall. I mean, it smacked the wall, dude. Like, I don't know how he was not concussed after that. But Denny Hamlin is far superior here at Homestead. He's been better lately than Chase Elliott as well. And looking at those comp tracks we have, Hamlin has won 8 of the 10 against Elliott head-to-head, or excuse me, 6 of the 8 head-to-head, including 5 straight. So Denny Hamlin's been better at Homestead, better lately, and better on the comp tracks. -125 against a guy like Chase Elliott, I'll take it.
Yeah, Elliott, believe it or not, like you said, it's just been bad. Like you think, oh, Chase Elliott, yeah, but then you open up his stats at Homestead, and it's like, what is he really driving this car? So yeah, I'm with you on that one as well. And Hamlin's got to do something, right? Hamlin, I just told Cody earlier in the week, I said maybe because he's a podcaster, he's not doing well anymore because podcasters can't run well and can't drive cars. So I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I'm with you on this Hamlin Elliott thing.
Yeah. Anything else you like from a matchup or a group perspective?
So I have a one that Caesars has given us too, and that's Trackhouse over Childress. Kyle Busch burned me last week, so I'm done with him. And Austin Dillon, look, I get it. I know he's going to probably be a top 10 car, but if I just said that Ross Chastain has the capability of being a top 5 car, tell me that even though Kyle Busch's stats, you can go point to every single stat at every single track, and it's going to tell you that he's going to be good. He's going to win. He's going to lead laps. But that has not happened in 2024. Like, Kyle Busch has not done all of that this year. So I don't care what any of the track stats say. I'm taking Kyle Busch and putting him 15th to 20th this week. And Austin Dillon, even if he's a top 10 car, I think both Trackhouse cars have the ability to be top 10 cars. And so that'll put at least one of them above Austin Dillon if Austin Dillon is just a 10th place car.
Yeah, I mean, Suarez has been really good, man. If things went his way a little bit differently in that round of 12, he could be looking at a championship 4 spot, honestly. I mean, that was a hell of a performance by him and his entire team. They almost won that race last week. That was awesome. So Suarez has been running great. Chastain has found speed lately. Like, Trackhouse has really come on down the stretch here. So yeah, I like that call out a lot. Stan suggesting Logano. potentially fading him against Chase Elliott. Going to be thinking about Phoenix all day on Sunday. Rod, I didn't bet this, but I did see AJ Allmendinger is matched up against Joey Logano at bet 365. AJ Allmendinger is like plus, like I think 130 against him. And I really gave that a thought. I did not bet that. I might reconsider that as I make my official card tomorrow here and put out the article. But I don't hate fading Logano. I'm not going to fade him with Chase. I most rather, get a little bit more of a payday with maybe something like Dinger there.
Yeah, I don't know though, because I know Logano may be daydreaming, but this is also the opportunity for them to just kind of keep going out and putting together good races. I know they're going to focus all this stuff on the 12, and I know, all that stuff. But again, like I said, Elliott hasn't been the greatest here either. So that's one I'm kind of scared of either way.
Yeah. Anything else from the Cup Series here? You got any specials? I know you're usually keen on the number bets. Did you find anything there? I used to love the number bets. I haven't found a number bet in a long time that I've liked.
Well, so the number bets, I kind of I took the hedging part of it, and I won't even give it out on this one. If you want to know my number bet, go back. But I did total number of cautions. The number is set at 5.5, and I got to pull it back up again. Total cautions 5.5. I'm going to take the over 5.5 because I'll tell you this right now. I know the last 2 seasons have been exactly 5 cautions, but the 2 seasons before that were 6 cautions. We had 5 cautions at Las Vegas last week, but we probably should have had another one down the road. So, I'm sorry, say again.
That counts stage breaks.
Yeah, that counts stage breaks.
Wow.
As well.
So you're getting 2. You're in 2 baked in. Okay.
2 baked in, and then I figure you'll get 3 for cause, and then maybe 1 late one because we've seen a lot of late cautions lately. And I know that this race is run relatively clean. Las Vegas ran relatively clean, but look. Plus money, you're getting plus 100 for over 5.5. Might as well try it, right? Because one more caution last week and you would have cashed this one. And I think because it's happened twice in 4 races, it could happen again this week. Okay.
Love it. Let's go ahead and move to the Xfinity series here, where I have a couple plays I really like this week down in the Xfinity series. I'm no stranger to usually betting more on Saturday than I am on Sunday, and that continues this week. Sam Mayer is a guy I think you need to have on your card in some semblance here. Top 5 plus 125 at bet 365, 9-1 for the outright as well. I went a half a unit down on that. I believe I found that over at ESPN bet 9-1. And then I went 2.5 units on the top 5 here. This is just kind of a style that fits Sam Mayer. Like you watch his racecraft, Sam Mayer kind of reminds you like a younger Tyler Reddick. He likes to run the wall. He likes high speeds. He's good when it's hot, when it's slick. 2 starts here at Homestead. He has a win and a 4th place finish. He has scored stage points in all 4 stages. Last year, he led 46 laps. Number 1 in average running position, 3.3. 2nd in driver rating to Cole Custer. 2nd in green flag speed. 2nd in speed late in a run. 4th in speed by segment. He hasn't always been great at the comps, but he did win Texas. He was 4th at Darlington, which is my favorite comp this week, and then 4th at Charlotte as well. So I like Sam Mayer a lot this week. I think he's, trying to vie for a championship 4 spot once again, and this is his best place to do it.
Yeah, and he needs to kind of shake off what happened last week at Vegas, too. He was not really the car that he wanted to be and not really the car that bettors wanted him to be either. So I think you're right. I think it's a bounce-back week for Sam Mayer. I have him over Sheldon Creed. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I have him in a head-to-head over Sheldon Creed. I mean, I know Sheldon Creed's a perennial 2nd place car, but on this particular track, not really that good. And so I believe that Sam Mayer, having won this race, having done what he's done so far, is going to be a better car than Creed. But I also think you're right. I think he's got the opportunity to win this race. Cody stole the outright from me on Mayer, but I co-sign with him because, again, I like you, think the Mayer is going to pull it together this week and put together a really fast car.
I'm just looking for drivers who are good at tracks at this point in the Xfinity series. And last week that I was all over Chandler Smith. He was really good at Las Vegas. Every time he's fired it up there. Sam Mayer 2 for 2 so far here. So yeah, I like him a lot there. That top 5 number I think is interesting. We do have a lot of fucking ringers in this race though. Like we got Connor Zilic. We got Eric Almirola back again as well. So who else do you like here in the Xfinity series?
I like Riley Herbst, that second place finisher from last season on this track. I was on him in Vegas. He was a Vegas kid. He's one of
Yeah.
those guys where I thought the hometown track bump would do us well, but unfortunately, it didn't really pull through for us. But again, he finished second in this race last year. We know that 98 car's got speed. We know that entire team has speed because Cole Custer is another one of those guys that's a perennial front runner at this particular track, and Herbst sort of follows suit. And I just give him an opportunity again to get there. In 5 career starts, he's got 4 top 10s, 1 top 5. That, like I said, that runner-up last year, 8th place the year before that, 11th, 9th, and 10th between the 98 and the 18 car. So he's been in good equipment. He's turned that good equipment into good finishes. I think this could be an opportunity for Riley Herbst to kind of punch his ticket. I like him as a top 5 car. I like him as an outright winner. His top 5 number is at plus 160 over on BetUS, and I got his outright at 14-1.
Talk about a guy who's motivated, Riley Herbst. We don't know his plans for next year. He was rumored to supposed to be getting that third 2311 car. Well, with what's going on with them in NASCAR and everything happening there at the lawsuits, he doesn't know what he's doing next year. So Riley Herbst, what do you have? You have 3 races left to get it done. So I don't hate the call there at all. And this is the type of track that Riley Herbst shows up at. And I always see matchups trying to get you to fade against Riley Herbst, and I won't do it at these mile and a halves. Like, this is the one place you don't fade Riley Herbst. So I'm not backing him, but I'm not fading him either. So I won't. I will lightly co-sign this with you, Rod.
I love it. Hey, at least you will. Cody doesn't necessarily agree with me on it, but we'll go there.
I like Connor Zilic. If you're going to take another outright, 10-1, just a sprinkle for me. I went 0.2 of a unit. I also went on the top 5, 1.2 units for plus 140 at Caesars. And here's the handicap on Connor Zilic. The dude's a fucking alien. He's 2 for 2, finishing top 5 in Xfinity. I've left a lot of money on the board already this season, not betting on him. And he's in a JRM car. And Sam Mayer won this race in a JRM car last year. If I know Connor Zilic, he's been in the sim. He's been putting work in for this race. So, like, I'm just like, this is a greatness bet. Like, bet greatness, man. Connor Zilic is awesome.
Yeah, and that 88 car has always been the class of the field when he's out there. So, I mean, the finishes may not always be there, but you know that the 88 car is going to be jockeying for somewhere inside of the top 5 on most occasions. And even with Connor Zilic behind the wheel, he's shown us that he belongs up in that series each and every week next season. So, like I said, excited to see that happen and excited to see what he can do to close out the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else from the Xfinity series for you?
No, I pretty much emptied my chamber there.
Okay. All right. I got one more. This is a fucking hammer, my friend. This is a stop what you're doing. Grab some pen and paper. If you're at a bar, put it on a napkin. I don't care. Austin Hill is matched up against William Sawalich. Minus 115. It's a pick'em. It's at bet 365. Are you kidding me? Listen, William Sawalich, this is the kid's first Xfinity Series race ever. And William Sawalich is a good prospect, but he's not no Connor Zilic. I wouldn't argue he's a Corey Heim level prospect. I think he's a solid prospect. He is in a car that has been very, very good here. So that's the one thing he is going for him. But he has no top 10s in the 7 Truck Series races this season. I talked about that earlier in the program. And Austin Hill, like, I would get it if this was a track Austin Hill wasn't good at. Finishes a P9 and P5. Last year, he started 4th in this race. He had an average running position of 5.4, 6 in driver rating, 6 in green flag speed by segment. So I think Austin Hill is going to be a top 7 to 8 car. I don't like him enough to bet him on a top 5. His top 5 number is actually decent this week. It's like a plus 250, I think, is out there, which isn't bad. So I think he's going to be a 6th to 8th place car. Do you think William Sawalich is going to be that in his first race? I don't. I really don't. And maybe I get burned because I've tried doing this before with like these guys who come out and out of nowhere. Taylor Gray burned me this year trying to do this. So did Bubba Pollard. But again, this is William Sawalich on Homestead ain't no joke either.
Yeah, no, and I 100% agree with you because Austin Hill is just that guy that we've penciled in every single week for a top 5. And William Sawalich, as great as that 19 car is going to be, I don't know that he can drive it to a top 5, a top 10. maybe, but not a top 5. And we know Austin Hill likes to park it in there. So much so, Seth, that I actually have a group bet that I put out on Austin Hill. Austin Hill group B over there on BetUS against Sammy Smith, Jesse Love, and Ryan Truex. So I plus 260 for him to win that group. I know Ryan Truex is good. Know he's capable of great things. Just don't know that he's good enough on this track to get it done. Jesse Love has been kind of slumping lately, and poor Sammy Smith, man. I don't know what the heck ever happens to Sammy Smith, but if Austin Hill's going to be a top 5 car, I don't think the other 3 are. A lot like you don't think Sawalich is, so I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I'm not a big groups guy, but I don't hate that at all. TK saying, does it hurt or help having both races the same day for Truck and Xfinity for these young guys? I will say this, like Taylor Gray went out at Pocono when Ellie and I were there on Friday night. He had a top 5 in the trucks, and I think it helped him in the Xfinity series because he also had a top 5 the next day. So I think like it can help you, but having back-to-back races as a young guy, 2 very different pieces of equipment here, I don't know. I think it might actually like hurt. It's tough. I think it's tough.
I think they're young enough to where it doesn't really matter. Like I remember being in my 20s and I could have probably jumped in between a truck and a Xfinity car and been fine. Now, if I'm 48 and trying to jump in between the couch and the dinner table, that hurts. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it really hurts or helps. I just think it's just something that they can do and that they're able to kind of switch gears because these guys, again, they're some of the better drivers in the entire industry. So, you know, for them, it's just wheel time is wheel time. They just have to make a few adjustments and they can go on.
Yeah. I went 4 units down on this bet. This is one of my favorite bets of the season, honestly. Like I could get absolutely burned and Sawalich could just be him, but I'm going to bet he's not and that Austin Hill's experience, wins out here. Truck series, I don't have a ton for the truck series. Honestly, I've not bet anything yet. I'm still formulating my card and the final thoughts. We don't usually get truck odds until later in the week here. But I do have some drivers that I am curious about, and maybe you are already down on them as well, my friend.
Yeah, so I think this is a Majeski week at 7-1 over on Caesars. I do believe that we are, as we like to joke, though, we like to joke that the pianos seem to fall down on Ty Majeski time after time after time again. But look, Ty Majeski, one of the only real active drivers that has a win on this track, right? He won on this track a couple of seasons ago in 3 total starts on this track. He has a win and a 9th place and a 10th place finish.
Okay.
And so, you know, I know that we joke about the fact that Majeski hasn't necessarily been all that great, but look, he took a ThorSport 66 car or 66 truck rather to a win in 2022, 9th place finish last year in the 98. So we know he can get it done. It's tough for Majeski. I get it. It's tough sledding, but I do think this is the week where he gets it done because he needs to.
Yeah, Ty Majeski. I mean, right now backs up against the wall a little bit. Like no one was thinking Enfinger was going to win that last race, punch his way in. So now it's down to Majeski to get himself above the cut line here and get in the next round. So I don't hate that at all. I did see that he was a winner a couple of years ago here, but kind of just pretty middling since, but still solid play there. I think Ben Rhodes might be an interesting top 5. Plus 350, I've seen him out there. He was 3rd at Darlington, 5th at Charlotte. Those are 2 of our closer comp tracks. He was also 2nd and 6th here. So I'm not sure if I'm going to bet him on the top 5 or if I can find him in a matchup yet. But Ben Rhodes is a guy I'm interested in. If you can find a Corey Heim top 3, I think under minus 150, it's good to go. I can't find it yet. I'm trying to get on Fanatics right now. That's like the newest legal sports book in Pennsylvania. And being a little difficult. My phone's not upgraded enough, so gotta free up some storage so I can upgrade my phone, and maybe they have one over there. But Heim top 3, I think might be interested. And Caden Honeycutt, he's another guy who's been very good at these 1.5 mile like tracks. And so I think if you can find him in a matchup, maybe in a top 5 as well, he's a driver I've highlighted. Anyone else? Do you like any of those guys or anyone else we haven't mentioned yet for the truck series that you're looking at?
I'm thinking Rajah Caruth too as another kind of outlier guy. He won in Vegas earlier this season. Yep. We've seen speed out of that truck for Rajah Caruth this year. His outright's 22-1 right now on Caesars. So if you want to do that, I also think Rajah Caruth is a good bet if you want to take somewhere. I got him over Honeycutt in a matchup, actually, to be honest with you. I think if Raja Caruth runs well on this track,
Mm,
he's going to either be a winner or a top 3 car or truck
yeah.
rather. And as good as Caden Honeycutt has been, he's been a 4th place car in a couple of these mile and a halves over the last couple of races. So I like that, but I just think Raja Caruth is going to put together a really, really solid race here. Plus, Lane Riggs, top 5. See the T's and the ties.
Too many
Lane,
ties in NASCAR right now.
it really is. Just like there's so many Connors in this day. Lane Riggs, top 5. Plus 140 over on BetUS. I love this one. Ty. God damn Ty. Lane Riggs has been killing it lately, and
Yeah.
series of top 5, series of top 10s. He's just killing it in that 38.
Yeah, it's been awesome to see him come on down the stretch. Went back to back Truck Series win here recently as well. So don't hate that one at all. I might be giving Lane another look here, but this number 38 truck as well has been very good at this track. Zane Smith, the top 3 car in it, truck, excuse me, last year. Let's go ahead though, Rod. Let's round out the show here a little bit. Tire tiers. All right, we got our tire tiers here. We are ranking the top 30-ish drivers here this week for Homestead. Rod, looking at the DraftKings salary board, who do you like? Kyle Larson, I don't think he's going to be the 101 this week. He's at 11K. We got C-Bell 10.8, Tyler Reddick 10.5, Byron 10.3, Blaney 10 flat. So a lot of guys we've talked about tonight. Who is someone that sticks out to you from a DFS perspective that you think is worthy of that 101?
So I'm okay with putting Christopher Bell up there. I will agree with everybody that has Christopher Bell love because I do believe this is going to be a track that he's going to do it. The revenge narrative is in heavy play here. So I don't hate Christopher Bell. 10-8 though. I feel like the books are just like, or even the DFS world is like, stick it. If you want the good guy, you're gonna have to pay this week.
Blaney or Byron, excuse me, would probably be my favorite other one. We were both pretty high on William Byron. I think he's a guy who's just been great at these style tracks, hot coming in as well. So yeah, I'm glad you put Bell up there because him and Byron are really my favorite too. And like we can call this next tier an A or an A minus tier because I think those are probably both of our clear favorites with Byron down there at 10-3 as well. Is there someone else you think belongs in the A's though?
I mean, I had tossed out Reddick earlier, thinking that that's probably a good one. You can either put him in A minus, you could put him in B. I'd be fine either way. I think he belongs in the conversation with these two at least.
Yeah, based on his Homestead results, I think he's worthy of it. It's just the recent results are kind of what's scaring me off a little bit. But at 10-5, if you want to go him over Byron, I totally get that. I would say we could drop down to the B's pretty quickly there. I don't really have anyone else there. I will say in the B somewhere to me needs to be Denny Hamlin. I mean, tire wear ace. This is a guy found his way back in. He needs to score stage points, so he's going to be out there potentially leading laps at some point in this race. I like him at 9.8. And Martin Truex Jr., we have not ranked him high. He's been an F driver, a D driver a lot. I like Martin Truex Jr. somewhere in the B's here. Any objection to those guys?
No, I don't have any objections to those guys. We could definitely put this in there.
Who else do you think should be in the B's?
I'm thinking Ryan Blaney. You gotta figure out that he's gonna be at least trying to do good things like he's always been. Runner up here last year, 17th place finish, but he does have a 3rd place finish in 2020, 11th place in 2019. Like solid results overall, and it's Ryan Blaney. I mean, Ryan Blaney needs this race to go well for him. That 12 team is going to get the full power of Penske now, given the fact that Logano is already in the playoffs, so they can just pour everything they need to into that 12 car and kind of say, all right, Joey, go ahead and drive whatever you've got. We're gonna give the power to Blaney this week to get him into the final championship 4.
Yeah, Blaney is backs up against the wall now a little bit after some bad results as of late. So I like Ryan Blaney. I would also, a guy we haven't talked about at all, I think Brad Keselowski needs to be a low B this week. He has been freaking fantastic as of lately at these styles of tracks. Brad Keselowski, he was running as a top 5 car earlier this season. or last season at Homestead. Didn't get that finish, but he was great at Darlington. This is where he got his first win of the season. His only win of the season was at Darlington, our closest comp track. So I like Brad Keselowski, a guy we haven't really talked about really in what feels like months now at this point.
Well, yeah, that's true. But also because at this particular track, it's kind of been mixed bag for him, right? He starts in the top 10 nearly every single time that he's been on this track over the last, 13 years. But the finishes just haven't necessarily been there over the last few years. 18th in 2019, 10th in 2020, good finish there. 16th, 5th, 28th. It's been tough for Keselowski at Miami, but you know,
Speed is there. Yeah. Maybe is a B or a C. Do you think I should drop him down? Like those finishes are honestly fucking dog shit. Now that you say those, like the speed, he's 7th in the total speed rankings, but and the speed hasn't been there as of late. So maybe I am too high on Brad.
I didn't mean to talk you off of him, but yeah, no, I just
the books want you to bet him. This guy's in a ton of matchups. I've been trying to figure out a matchup that I like him for, but he's matched up against some really good drivers as well, so I haven't found anyone. So let's put him a high C. Where's Larson to you? Where's Chase Elliott? Where's Logano? These other playoff guys mix in, you think?
I guess if you have to put Larson somewhere, it's got to be a B because you have to respect the fact that he can go out and win this race and that he can go out and be one of the better drivers on this track altogether. Do we see it on this track on a yearly basis? No, but I hate it because you know what I'm saying? Like he could Larson 10 starts, 5 top 10s, 5 top 5s and a win, but he's also got 40th place finish and a 34th place finish wedged in there. So, you know, what do you want? He did lead 199 laps 2 years ago and 96 the year before that. So from a DFS purpose, that's pretty good. So I guess a B is a good solid place for him.
Yeah, really, it's like the comps. Honestly, it's just been super inconsistent. You look at the high tire wear mile and a half tracks so far this season. He's down in 10th in the total speed rankings, which is fine, but it's just really hard to build an awesome lineup around Larson this week. Like I felt like I could last week, and I got burned in a lot of lineups that had Larson last week. So I'm just not willing to go back to it. But I understand if people are, but still, I think B is a good place for him. I would argue Ross Chastain should probably be up here just with how he's running. He's also just, I mean, his finishes have also been absolutely terrible at Homestead, but you look at the total speed rankings, he's 5th in the next gen era here. So he has speed. It's just whether he can finish. And, he doesn't have any pressure on him this year. He's kind of been out of the playoffs. I think vibes are high over there despite that. So I like Ross to kind of round out the B's here, other than maybe Logano. Logano's like the other guy right on he could maybe be a C. Logano could maybe be a C.
I'd put Logano in the C. I'd also put Alex Bowman in the C's as well. We think he's probably going to be a top 15. I know that Cody thinks he's going to be a top 10 car. So I wouldn't mind seeing the 48 in the top 10 again. But I mean, pissed off Bowman has been a narrative. And I think, at the very least, $8,000 for him puts him in a good C tier driver range.
Yeah. Where's Chase Elliott to you? Because his finishes here in the next gen era, 15th and 14th. He hasn't been running great lately. Hasn't run necessarily great on the comps either. Not consistently, at least. He has the win at Texas. We saw speed out of the number 9 car that day, but it's just really hard for me to get behind Chase Elliott. He does have a runner-up finish here in 2020, which was a great race. Denny Hamlin won that one. I don't think we'll forget that. But other than that, I don't know, man. He might be a D, or is he a C for you?
I think if you respect the name, you got to put him in the C. But if we think of another C tier driver, I wouldn't mind putting him above Chase Elliott either. But put him in the C.
Oh, C. Yep.
No, not B. But I think he's a safe bet there.
There aren't a ton of values this week. At least I can't find them. I feel like Dinger feels like he's gonna be chalky. I think, and he's a little expensive for AJ Allmendinger, 7,300. I don't love that. I think him and Austin Dillon, though, just off pedigree at this track, should at least be D's. I think we can probably both throw those guys in as D's. 2 straight top 10 finishes. We said that earlier about Austin Dillon. I think he probably deserves to be ranked here.
I think Busch deserves to be ranked in the D's. And I'll tell you why. Because at the very least, this man, like I said, every single one of his track stats tells you that he should be good on this one. He has led the second most amount of laps on this track next to Kyle Larson. He's got 11 top 10 finishes and 19 starts, 5 top 5s, 2 wins. But again, I just don't feel like that means anything when you're looking at this season. But I still think he should be included in this list.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Also, I think Danny Suarez, like hats off to Danny Suarez and that whole team for finding a lot of speed here down the stretch in the playoffs. Like they had a miserable start to the year, and he's coming to a track in Homestead where he's not going to win you the week, but he's certainly not going to lose you the week either. Finishes in the next gen era of 16th and 10th, was also 15th in 2021. Coming in this week, back to Homestead for a really solid price of 7,200. And from a DFS perspective, he hasn't killed you. 76 points last week. That was great. Had a bad week. The Reaume had some mechanical issues, but before that, 23 points, 27, 14, 26. I think Danny Suarez is a guy I like here in the D's as well.
Well, and like I said, I have him as at least a top 10 finisher on the day. So I think that's going to give you a great return. He's averaging 29.9 fantasy points per race, which, at $7,000, $7,200, you could do worse. You could do Austin Cindric around that price.
I think Bubba Wallace probably for a D as well, Rod. He's finished 6th here last year, started 2nd, so did lose some differential points for you. But overall, Bubba's actually looked a little better than Reddick at times in the postseason, despite not qualifying for him.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing about Bubba is that he tends to just get mixed up in the wrong people's problems is really all it is for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else for the D's for you?
I'm trying to think, Seth, and it's getting very difficult to make cases for anybody else past this. Like
I could maybe
all
make
the SHR cars, but
I could maybe make one.
Go ahead.
6,100, Zane Smith. I mean, talk about a guy who has just looked awesome, dude. Like his worst finish his worst finish came all the way back in Pocono. That was greater than 25th. The guy's been a top 25, top 20 machine as of late as well. And for DFS, he has not burned you one bit. I know last week, at least I did the math going into Las Vegas. He was averaging something over 30 points per race. So Zane Smith is a guy coming in here. We don't know what he's going to race like on in a cup car, but he was really good in the trucks as well. So Zane Smith, he's going to continue to be my little huckleberry down the board, I think.
I can't wait till the next NASCAR race that I get to go to and actually shake Zane Smith's hand, because I want to thank him for just being a fantastic human being. But yeah, at $6,000, 24 points he's averaging this season. I mean, that's not bad. You would take that for sure. That's what 4 times what you're paying for him, and that's a really good return on your investment.
Yeah. But anyone else you like here? Carson Hocevar's looked good at times this season as well. I think he should probably be ranked, but might be more of a, I don't know. Hocevar actually won this truck race last year as well, so maybe Hocevar belongs up there as well.
He did, but listen to those last few finishes and how many points he got you. 2, 40, 56, yay, -7, 16, 69, 50, yay, -21. Like, it's been a rough ride the last few weeks for Carson Hocevar. Spire's been on one, but Hocevar's been, you think he's going to be good, and then something happens and he's out of it.
Chris Buescher, he's 9th in the high-speed intermediate 1.5-mile track total speed rankings this season. He's also not too bad in the total speed rankings in the next-gen era for Homestead as well. He's 19th. I think Chris Buescher belongs somewhere. I'm just not sure if that's a D or an F.
Well, my only problem is this. If you look back at his finishes, he's got 8 total starts. His average finish 19.9, finished 27 or 21st in the last race that he was in here, started 17th, finished 13th. That's a good finish, but he started 8th. Lost some differential points there. Started 12th in 2021, finished 19th, started 13th in 2020, finished 23rd. You see the trend? It's not really the greatest at this track. He loses you points.
Yeah, it's interesting because he was super fast at Darlington. Like he could have arguably won that race, and if Tyler Reddick didn't take him out. So yeah, I totally get it though. The finish, especially from a DFS perspective, finishes aren't there. Man, we still got some heavy hitters. Like, what the fuck we doing with Ty Gibbs? I have no idea what to do with him. I have no idea what to do with like all these SHR guys as well. Like, do any of them deserve to be ranked, you think?
I have been banned from talking about Ty Gibbs because the Ty Gibbs Mafia is after me right now. They are hot on my trail. They don't like that I am dissing their man. Guys, I think he's going to be a fantastic driver going forward. He is going to have a career that we're all going to be talking about for years to come. I get it. I know. But this sophomore slump is absolutely real. Yeah, he's going to pop up and have a couple of good days here and there, but then he's going to get you 2 points in Las Vegas when everybody was high on him on an $8,000 salary, negative 12 points at the Roval, like even 32 points at the Yellowwood 500. Like, that's fine and dandy, but Seth, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid right now, and I'll do it sooner or later, but just not right now.
I totally get it, man. He's been super disappointing down the stretch. I remember before the season, I wanted to hammer him for over on his half win total, and it got so juiced. I think it was minus 140 before the season started that I didn't bet it. And I'm glad I didn't, because I mean, he's probably not going to win this season. And two full seasons in, hasn't won so far. I will say, though, the one thing going for Ty Gibbs, he's been really at least shown speed. Hasn't always got the finishes he's deserved, but shown speed on these styles of tracks. Third in the comp total speed rankings over there for My Fantasy Race. So we'll throw him in the Fs there. Austin Cindric, he's another guy who's been decent here. Hasn't been lights out by any means, but looking at the total speed rank, he's been 19th. I believe he has a couple top 20 finishes as well. So don't hate Austin Cindric here. Yeah, two top 20 finishes, 12th and 19th here. So don't hate him. Who else? Anyone else that you're considering playing this week? Chad Fincham, little Chad Fincham love.
No, I mean,
I think he has two top 25 finishes here in his last Homestead race, but it was a while ago.
Yeah, it's probably been longer than both of us want to remember. I don't know. Let's see. He's got you 3 points in the Ally 400 earlier this season, so I'm sure that 66 car is going to be on fire. I don't know. So listen, when I look at the top 10s, because in this range, you're hoping for a top 10, right?
Yeah.
About the lowest you can go for a top 10 that's in a decent realm of anything is
McNasty.
Oh, yeah, he's got 2 top 10s in 14 career starts in this particular track, but those 2 top 10s came in 2021, which is a 6th place finish there, and then 2016. Since then, it's 22, 16, 15, 26, 28. So pick your poison on that one. So, yeah, I don't know. As we get into the bottom ends of this, Seth, I feel like I'm out of guys that I want to recommend.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I the only other person I would maybe throw out there, maybe the Cabo Curse came back, is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's another guy. He likes high speeds. He's been a veteran. I don't think he's going to win your week, but his worst finish was 30th here, and that was all the way back in 2016. So it's been a while for Ricky. So I'll throw Ricky on the board, but honestly, I think we're pretty much good after that. Like the SHR guys feel like they have no upside now. You know, Tony was on with Kevin Harvick this week. Like, they're closing shop, man. So I think that pretty much does it for us here in the DFS tiers. What do you say?
Yeah, I can't make a case for anybody else that would make you feel good about yourself afterwards.
Yeah. And you're talking to a guy who played Kaz Gralla last week. So
no, there's no shame in that, my friend. Kaz Gralla, I was on him a couple of weeks ago too. So I felt like that would be a decent enough play. So don't feel bad for that. Don't beat yourself up.
Well, Rod, I appreciate you hanging out with us as always. I appreciate all the IBT family members hanging out with us each and every single week. Rod, where else can we find your work other than here at In Between Media, my friend?
Yeah, I'll be standing outside of the local Quiznos with a sandwich board, so make sure you stop by there. No, the easiest way to do it is follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. There's a link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's the NASCAR Gambling Podcast or over on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Still got some stuff going for Sportsbook Review right now, first touchdowns. And the likes props there. And yeah, check out SoYouLikeSports.com. We had Justin nailing a plus 650 pro bull riding championship.
Get it up.
Woo! Gotta love it. So go check out SoYouLikeSports.com for all your niche sports. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Rod, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, the easiest way to support us here at IBT Media, hit that like button if you enjoy this type of content. Subscribe to the whole damn channel. we not only have NASCAR betting content coming for you, we got PGA, we got NFL, we got college football, we got entertainment betting. We just dropped an entertainment betting show here in the last couple weeks. So, and also check out the site, inbetweenmedia.com. We got so much good content over there for you. We're working on some new tools. And as promised, we're going to put out a survey here at the end of the season. Make sure we're getting your guys' feedback. Thanks so much, as always, for coming down the back road with us, y'all. We'll talk to you here next time. Enjoy what's going to be an epic weekend of racing in Homestead, Miami. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks, y'all. Keep it in between.